Hey folks, AJ the CEO here, and it looks like these PTZ makers are pushing the 4K PTZs. We got another one in here from Avkans this time. This is the AV4KN. They sent this to me. Let's go ahead and check it out, open it up, see what's inside, put it through its paces, and ultimately, because at this point, we got what? 1, 2, 3, 4. I think we got 4K PTZs. I think it's time for a head-to-head comparison coming up. But anyway, let's go ahead and open this up. Let's see what's inside, and let's put it through its paces. Alrighty, folks, let's look inside here. Honestly, we already know what's inside. All of these come with the exact same stuff. We got a power cable, USB cable, RS-232 cable, a remote. Let's punch in just a little bit more. Got a manual. Got some mounting screws for the mount. We also have wall mounts and spacers and all that other stuff to hold it into drywall or brick or concrete, whichever one that you go into. Got a wall mount. And we have the camera. So this one is I was going to say it is bigger, but it's lighter from how it felt. And let's just check to see if there's anything else in the bottom. No. So no ceiling mount. So nothing like that. Right. Let's go ahead and take the protective stuff off of here, the lens cap. Let's put everything back in its place. And I need another Ethernet cable, now that I think about it. The whole plan is finish doing the stuff here is actually have a jack in the wall here so I can just plug everything in so I don't have to run cables all on the floor, because y'all keep telling me back in the day in my videos repeatedly, as if I could go back in time, that my cable management is bad. We're working on that. I couldn't do that in other places, and I forgot the mount. Oh well. We'll get the mount back in the box later. All right, let's go ahead and look at everything here. Let's zoom in some. Alrighty, so obviously it is NDI supported because it's got the label and everything. It is 4K. We can pull off this little plastic here. All right. Again, we got our quarter thread. No dip switches on the bottom. It looks like everything is going to be controlled through the menus. Let's flip it around in the back. We got USB 3.0. We got our HDMI. SDI out. Again, this does not support 4K. You need a 12G SDI out to have 4K over SDI. So it's going to be 4K is going to be only on the HDMI out and the USB out. Audio jack, RJ45, RS-232 in and out, and power. And that's pretty much it. So let's go ahead and get this thing hooked up and let's see what the image quality is like. I do have a cable. I mean, I have my, see, I need to finish setting up everything. I do have a 4K capture card on this system here, so we can actually see everything from its quality and things like that, but we're going to be doing that in the comparison. But let's go ahead and get it hooked up to the network, walk about how to get it set up on our joystick and all that other fun stuff. So I need 2 cables. Now again, this is PoE powered, so we don't have to worry about a power cable. Let's hook this up to the PoE switch that I have right here, and like I said, ultimately, we'll be able to do away with this and have everything nice and neater and all that other fun stuff. All right, we got everything powered on. All right, so let's do this in reverse. Hopefully I can punch in so y'all can actually see my joystick here. All right, so let's go ahead and search. I'm sure this is going to have Visca and ONVIF as a protocol, as well as NDI. All right, and let's search for Visca, because again, I don't know what the IP address is. And there it is, the 104, because all of my other stuff is sequential. So that would be it. So very simple to add. All right, let's go back one menu. Let's search on VIF. Probably gonna pull up a whole bunch of stuff. But okay, I thought it would pull up more, but we got the same thing, 104. And then there's a show on NDI. We should have a bunch of cameras show. All right, and again, we have it right there, as you can see, 104. So we can pick from any one of those. So we know what the IP address is. So now let's go back over to the computer. Let's look at the interface. I'm sure the interface probably looks exactly the same way that we're used to. Alrighty, let's go ahead and bring a browser over here and let's look. Again, that was 192.168.0.104 was the IP address. All right, and this one most likely is admin, then admin 123. Alrighty, as you can see, we are there. Interface is a little bit different, but it's similar to the E20 line from Avkans. So the web interface just looks differently, but again, the same type of controls. We can set and call our presets here. We can go through our menu. We can move the camera if we need to through the web interface. We can set our speed, our initial position. Does it go back to home? And if you ever wondered if you wanted to reset the home position is normally tied to preset 0. So if you ever was like, I don't like where this home position is, you can set 0 to whatever, and that will be its initial. Or you can just come in here and set it to whatever preset that you want. All right, we got the same thing with adjusting our image quality. Do we want to mirror it? Do we want to flip it if it was upside down and mounted from a ceiling or something like that? Image mode. So it gets a little bit brighter here, and you can dial in everything else if you don't want it to be set to auto. Have our focus. I do want to have autofocus on. And do you digital zoom close, and you can set all these other ones. Pan tilt assist, I believe. We can set exposure. Again, I typically set mine at auto mode, but there are some ministries that like to dial it in and do a white card and everything like that before. That is their prerogative. Anti-flicker, I set mine at 60 hertz just because that's what I know my stuff is here. And honestly, just the same settings that you would typically see with all the cameras. Nothing new. We do have some tracking configurations here. We can just, obviously this has tracking. Almost all of them have tracking in it now, which is good. So it's not like an upcharge for getting anything. Most of the upcharge is going to be for your NDI license, since it's a license fee that they have to pay when you get that. So you could turn on tracking, and then boom, it's just like that. And now you have two base configurations: power on, status, tracking off. So, okay, so you can set it that once the camera is turned on, tracking is turned on automatically. Do you want to do tilt motion? How sensitive is tracking speed, tracking lost time? So a little bit more settings. So again, as this stuff evolves, you're getting more dynamic settings with your tracking to where it gets better and better, gooder and gooder over time. Tracking height, so you can, let's see. Okay, so you can set the height of where you want it to follow. Okay, I do like that. I'll keep mine in the middle. All right, so more settings for your tracking. So again, the days of being able to just turn it on and you have no control, we're getting some granularity there, so we can add some more controls, which is always a good thing. Audio settings, as usual, we can bring in audio. If you want to bring your mic in, you can set your levels, your sample rate, your bit rate, all the other good stuff. Video. What's the resolution? Your output. Again, I could do 4K, but again, in my setup, I don't have a 4K video switcher, so I have to have all my stuff set at 1080p. But the camera right here is a 4K one. The other one over here is a 4K. The ceiling one is a 4K. The other one that was just tracking over here is a 4K, and the Avkans is a 4K. So we got a bunch of cameras to test in quality. So be on the lookout for that. We can set our frame rate. So here at 4K, it looks like you can't go any higher than 30 frames a second. Well, actually, let me take that back. That might just be for that setting. We got to play around with that and see. And we can set our video frame rate. So yeah, it looks like the 4K does only go up to 30 frames a second coming out of the HDMI. So be aware of that. All right, media configuration. This is where we can set the RTSP port. We can turn on RTMP, and we can set an address or where we want it to go to. You have two options for that. Your NDI settings, you can which NDI mode you want to use. I thought it had HX3, but I could be wrong. But you can also set the name, your stream names, all the other fun stuff so that everything can show up over the network. And we are going to play with this in a second. Our control protocols, how you're going to set everything. Now, one thing, I don't know if they fixed this, but I've had this issue a couple of times. If you have one of these Avkans cameras and the joystick is not working for whatever reason, there was sometimes that you would say you changed it to TCP. Good, they fixed it. It used to be that you would change the protocol and it would change the port to 5678, which is that other port. But then when you switched it back, it would lock into this. And I know I had this because Runnymede had an issue where I think they did a factory reset or something and it messed up the ports and the joystick wouldn't work because the ports were flipped. And there was some bug or something like that, that when you switch this, it changed the port, but then it wouldn't change it back. Found that the hard way, but thankfully it looks like that's been fixed. So if you ever had that issue, look for your port. And if it's UDP, change it to 1259. If it's TCP, change it to 5678. And you'll need to manually do that through the interface. All right, system config. We got user management. I've really never even changed this, to be quite honest, but you could. Your Ethernet connections, I'm going to leave this on DHCP for right now. But normally, I personally like to come in, set this as a static IP so that even if my router is down, if everything is plugged into a switch, you'll still be able to control it. That's the reason why I do that. And I also set it on the router as well. And then we have location for firmware updates. We can do a reboot and all that other fun stuff. And there's our model, there's our firmware, and all that other good stuff. So very straightforward. So now that we got all that, let's go ahead and open up our studio monitor. And my link is not working. So we got to open it up the long way. All right. So if we open up here, we go to our search, and there it is. There's the name where we can change it to. And there we go. Very straightforward there. And we are on tracking still. So awesome. So again, I need to disconnect and connect the cable to this so we can test out its tracking. So let's go ahead and do that. Alrighty, so this is the camera now set. And let's see how that tracking is. So follows very well. I need to get rid of the display because I don't want to have stuff like that show if you were connecting to this on church or something like that. So see how fast it can follow me. Probably need to change the speed a little bit. And I need to turn off all this other stuff because it lost me here. Right here. I need to turn off the other displays because I think it's picking up me. and the other screens and come back on over here. So probably got to do some dialing in on that. And it does say that this is HX3, but I only saw HX2 in the menus. So maybe I need to see if there's a firmware update for that. All right, so now, because just like every other camera, let's go ahead and bring up OBS and let's go ahead and connect to this thing. So RTSP, it should be the IP address, 104. And we turn the source on and boom, there we go. So we can get a feed as well from directly from the camera over the network if you wanted to do it that way. So there we go. And again, we have NDI, so we can always come into that through OBS or whatever program that you're using. And there it is right there at the top. So again, if you don't have a video switcher, you can bring it in that way if you wanted to. So really slick there. And then we also still have, I don't use it that often, but you know, you still have your, I don't use it that often, but you still have a way to connect this over USB if you really wanted to. If you wanted to have this in a conference type of setting and have it mounted in a conference room and just have a USB cable that anybody can plug in for like your Zoom, your Google Meets, or your Teams meetings or something like that, that is an option. Really thinking about doing that at a couple of other conference rooms. But anyway, those are your options. All right, folks. So again, another good product from Avkans. And like I said, we've got our handful, a little bit over a handful of 4K PTZs. So what I'm probably going to do is probably later next week, probably break them all down and put them here on the table and just do a head-to-head comparison, because I know a bunch of y'all have sent me messages saying like, AJ, which one do you recommend? Honestly, I use them all. The ones I don't use, which are none, are the ones that I don't recommend. Actually, there is one that y'all never saw a video for because I didn't like it, and that's why I never reviewed it. Because if I'm not going to use it, I'm definitely not going to promote it to any of y'all. But what we'll probably do is do a head-by-head comparison. And I mean, I just like the fact that we're getting more options. I don't like anything only being one way. There's so many other ways that could work when it comes to your media ministry. Some people like OBS, some people like vMix, some people like this brand of camera, some people like this brand of camera, some people want the cinematic and adjusting color and color correction live. Other people want a turnkey solution that they just press a button and it's just done. I do like that as options, and that's what we're here to do. So again, Avkans, thank you so much for sending this to me. The link is down below if you're interested in getting one. And you know how I normally do. If you have one of these cameras, please use a comment down below, because me just talking and doing a review isn't always going to be the best recommendation for other people. It's other people who are using them in their ministries and can actually say, hey, look, we've been using this. We love it. We hate it, whatever. Leave those comments down below, because that's what helps the community decide which camera they're going to get, outside of the reviews and the comparison videos that I try to do to try and help out with all of y'all. So I think that's about it. If I hadn't said it already, again, Avkans, thank you so much for sending them out. They actually sent me a video switcher. We're going to be testing that out as well too later in the week. But again, links down below, and I think that's it. So if you like the type of content, appreciate a like, consider subscribing, hit that bell, the way you get notified when we come out with other videos to help modernize your media ministry. Thanks for watching, folks. This is AJ. Catch you on the next video. Later.